Another twist in one of the biggest stories in Israeli politics this year, an issue so divisive and controversial that the prime minister made an embarrassing and public U-turn on the issue within 12 hours of making an announcement, and that the government coalition itself nearly collapsed about this issue several times. I'm talking about the African asylum seeker deal. The Israeli government told the High Court that it is scrapping all planned deportations of migrants. Any existing deportation order will be canceled. Migrants with expired temporary permits can get the visas renewed once again every 2 months. But Prime Minister Netanyahu writing online that because he cannot reach any agreement with any third country to take the migrants in, he will now try and draft legislation to reopen several closed detention centers throughout Israel. Joining me now in our studio, I have Tiklit Michael. Tiklit is an asylum seeker, originally from Eritrea. He's been here in Israel for 10 years now, for a decade. Thank you for being with us. Also with us, our diplomatic correspondent, Mike Wagenheim. Mike, I want to start with you. What exactly is the government's new plan? Do they have a new plan? There's been so many twists and turns and 180s. What's going on now?
You just mentioned this. This has been going on for 10 years now. It's only as of late that we've seen all these twists and turns. So let's take a look and see what's been going on lately. And let's put it up on screen for our viewers. This is what's been happening over the last 4 or 5 months. Early January, Israel offers migrants a plane ticket out of the country. Very few actually take them up on the offer. Mid-March, the Israeli Supreme Court suspends a migrant deal that would have been in place to forcibly deport migrants. They said that's not legal. Migrants have to leave on their own volition. January 24th, Israel apparently struck a deal with Rwanda. Rwanda said it never happened and still claims that there was never any deal in place. The saga continued along. Benjamin Netanyahu made a deal with the United Nations Refugee Agency to resettle about half of the 36,000 plus migrants in Western nations, backed out of the deal hours later under pressure from his political right. And then just a few weeks ago, Israel said they had a deal in the works with Uganda. It either fell through or wasn't a deal to begin with, but either way, their envoy returned from Uganda empty-handed. So now, what's left? Benjamin Netanyahu yesterday, because time was ticking down from the Supreme Court, said that's enough. We're scrapping any plans that we have. We're extending the visas of all the migrants that are here. And now the next step is to try to put legislation through the Supreme Court, or through the Knesset, rather, the parliament, to take the Supreme Court out of the picture. Don't let them override anything, and let us do what we want to do with these migrants, which is deport them.
I mean, we're almost back now, full circle. You were in South Tel Aviv a short time ago. You're working on your investigative report now. But give me a sense, what did you learn from the community? What's going on now, today, on the streets of South Tel Aviv, where so many of these migrants live?
Yeah, it's been so up and down lately, and migrants don't know what's coming next. I spoke with one. He says he's a refugee from Darfur, Sudan, who escaped the war there. He just said, listen, I don't even worry about it anymore. I'm just happy to be out of a place like Darfur and here in Israel, and even seemed grateful. Let's give it a listen.
As long as we are here, as safe than where we came from, anywhere, the government have a right to do what he wants. We have nothing to say about it. What I want to say to Israel community and the Israeli government, thank you a lot for accepting us for all these years.
Tiklit, what is your thoughts? The fight for permanent residency and to be granted asylum has taken up almost half of your life, almost. What is your thoughts on today's developments?
Actually, this is continuous of the last time, especially when I came to Israel. I had two things that in my mind, because I know Israel is founded by refugees, so I had hope that Israel can give me protection. And secondly, I'm a Christian, so I was thinking, this is holy land, maybe they can give me protection. That is the two things that I had in my mind. When I came here, it is a different story, because the government is putting us from prison to prison, from prison to prison, which is unmoral and unethical, which is, for me, it is completely bad feeling I had, because I love Israel as a country, I love Jewish people as a nation. For me, it is very hard even to understand that stuff.
You talk about how you spent many times, you were transferred from detention center to detention center, your friends and family were. The fact that some of these closed detention centers where undocumented migrants are held forcibly, they may reopen. The Prime Minister wants to reopen them. What would that mean to you? Emotionally, what's that thought like, that they could reopen?
As human beings, we have one thing, it's like hope. The government is working very hard to break our hope. So that is their idea, like to break us as human beings. That's why they did last year, even years before, like to open Holot in Saharonim, in the other prisons, like to break our hope. It's not because of our asylum claim or because of who we are. It is because of our skin color. It is because of our faith. That is the point. Because formally or informally, the government says that all the time. It is a Jewish state. So I am a Christian. Most of the people like from Eritrea are Christian. So that is the point.
What do you think about the delay in getting these applications processed? They're not done quickly. It takes years and years and years. Was that immoral, do you think?
It is, yeah, it's their tactic because they want to break the hope of the people. If they give us an answer, so people will get hope. So they don't give hope to people.
What can change in South Tel Aviv? I mean, tens of thousands of both Eritrean and Sudanese migrants live largely within a few kilometers of each other. How do you improve that neighborhood? How do you make things better for both the Israelis and the migrants, and everyone can live together?
First of all, Israel or Prime Minister have to reconsider the deal he did with UNHCR. Because half of the migrant, if they transfer to Western country, half of them, if they integrate with other place, I think it's going to be good place.
You want them to go back to that deal, revisit that deal.
Yeah, and also to see the International Convention of Refugees to check each and every individual person his asylum claim.
All right, Taklit, thank you so much for being here, breaking down your thoughts on these developments with us in studio. Mike as well.